One of the greatest blind spots that people have when it comes to leveraging their success factors is knowing what those success factors are. I would guess if I asked you to stop right now and tell me what are 10 things that make you who you are, that make you different from everybody else who might have the same education, the same culture, the same background, the same experience, the same age, whatever it might be. And could you prattle them off without overthinking it and just say, Erica, I am really passionate. I am really good at math. I am a great communicator. I can take really complicated ideas and I can boil them down to very succinct thoughts. I'm incredibly analytical. I am. Zip, 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 zip. Could you give me 10 without overthinking it? Could you give me 20? Could you give me 50? If your answer to any of those is no, that's where your work is today. Lean in and start making your list. Pay attention very purposefully as you go through your day-to-day engagements and ask yourself, what am I doing right now that makes me me? And jot them down. That is the beginning of your success factors list so that you can begin to leverage them purposefully. One of the best ways that you can leverage your success factors is by figuring out what you've already been doing to navigate situations up to this point. You've been doing something because you're here. So that means that there have been things that have happened to you that have gone really well, and there are things and situations you've navigated that went sideways. In both situations, when things went well and had a very positive outcome, and when things went sideways and somehow you got to the other end of it, you did something. You were tapping into skills and strengths that you had and that you used during those situations. So today's tip, take a minute and think about a story, your story, of a time when things went really, really well. And think about who was involved and what happened in that story and what was it that you did? What were the skills and the strengths and the characteristics you used to help facilitate a positive outcome? On the flip side, think about that was a hot mess, total screw up, biggest mistake ever, or just a smaller mistake that made you feel some kind of way that wasn't a good kind of way at the other end of it. Or a situation where things just didn't go very well, and how did you just get through it? Those are survival skills. Those are resiliency skills. Those are resiliency tools. Those are strengths. Those are characteristics. Those are specialized skill sets. Those are your success factors. You've made it through it. Think about those in both situations and add those skill sets, the strengths, to your list of success factors. And then you can begin using them more purposefully and more consistently. Bruce Lee talks about being like water. What does this mean as you're considering your success factors and how to leverage them? It means that when you come across barriers in life, when it comes across opportunities, think about how water would take care of that. When water comes to a barrier or a giant boulder or wreck, it doesn't stop flowing. It goes over and under and around and through that barrier. It finds a way to keep moving and not become stagnant. And over time, the thing that needs to change isn't the water, it's the rock. Think about the biggest example of the Grand Canyon. That Grand Canyon was a solid piece of mountain. And over time, that water wore it down. And as you're flowing like water, think of your career path in the same way and be like water. One way to leverage your success factors is by asking other people what it is they respect, appreciate, and admire about you. This is very, very important to understand other people's perspectives of you, because so often your success and how far you can go is dependent upon other people understanding who you are, what you have to contribute, and then helping you get there. So, over the next week, choose 3 to 5 people and ask them, people who you value, people whose perspective you want, and ask them, What is it that they respect, appreciate, and admire about you? Now, they may not have thought about this before, so they might need a little bit of time, especially those who are a bit more thoughtful, reflective, and analytical. So maybe give them 2 to 3 days. Some of them may want to write it down. Some people may want to share it with you. Some people just might want to email it to you or give it to you as a list. Let them do it in their style. And then give yourself permission to accept the positive feedback that you receive. Add all of the things that they give you and their perspective as your success factors to your list of your success factors so you can begin leveraging them. One of the pieces of advice that you may have been given or that you will likely receive at some point is to show up to all of your situations, especially the professional situations, as your authentic self. Show people who you are. Take that Brene Brown vulnerability piece and be you. All of you. The parts of you that are intelligent, the parts of you that are warm, the parts of you that you really like and respect and appreciate about yourself. And show that in your professional settings. Now, that sounds great. It's advice that I've given. It's advice that I've taken myself. And on the flip side, however, if you're like me, you've found yourself in environments or surrounded by people where genuinely being who you are doesn't quite feel safe. My guidance to you would be to keep in mind there are always going to be people in your life, some of whom you don't get to choose, who may not see you for who you are, who may want you to stay exactly the same as you were when they first met you, who aren't able to see your gifts because they've been taught how to look for weaknesses or for mistakes, and are very interested in more keeping you in your lane or squishing you down than lifting you up. And there are also the people, and these are the ones I want you to find and surround yourself with as purposefully as possible, who see your gifts, who see your strengths, who see your possibilities, who believe in you more than you sometimes believe in yourself, so that you can start to feel safer and safer and safer in giving yourself permission to show up fully as your authentic self. Because of the people who've been willing to champion me, I would say to you, do the same. Do your best to find the people out there who believe in you more than you sometimes believe in yourself and have the interest, the ability, and the skills to champion you. And if your current situation is feeling a little tight, find the one person there who can do that for you. At some point in your career, you may find yourself in an environment or working with people where you're just not that excited to get up in the morning and go to work or to do the task at hand. So what do you do in those situations? How do you navigate that? The first thing you can do is recognize that you do have some power and some control in that situation. You may not have power and influence and control over the larger situation, but what you do have power and control over is yourself. And that comes down to mindset. You can choose to go in and complain and not be happy and tell yourself you're miserable. That's how you're going to feel at the end of the day. Very exhausted, very draining. On the flip side, you can say, I choose to be here until I choose not to be. And while I choose to be here, this is how I choose to show up. This is how I choose to work. This is how I choose to engage with my colleagues respectfully. This is how I choose to present and communicate my strengths and my skills, regardless of whether or not anybody else recognizes them in that current environment, until you are able to make a change. Remember, you do have the power and the control over yourself.